For my father, Michael Nethercott. For my mother, Helen Shepards. For my brother, Rustin Nethercott. And for all our ancestors who waltzed, baked bread, loved, fought, and survived the impossible so that we could at last, here in this gentle sliver of time, meet. Prologue. Behold, Kali tragus, the Russian thistle, a bushy lump of a plant, green flowers vanishing into green leaves, its stem striped red and violet as a bruised wrist. The leaves are lined with spikes, sharp like stitching needles. You are advised to wear gloves when handling it, if you must handle it at all. Should the thorns prick you, pretend you don't feel it. It doesn't do any good to gripe in times like these. There are worse wounds to be had than a thistle prick. Much, much worse. The Russian thistle swells to life in the most arid climates. It thrives on disturbed land, flourishes in those places where a strange violence occurred. Among burned crops, thirsty fields, once thriving farmlands ravaged by blight. Despite it all, the Russian thistle survives, multiplies. It can grow between 6 and 36 inches tall. When it dies, it breaks off at the base and journeys across the earth, dropping seeds as it travels. The thistle moves like a living beast, rolling and waltzing in the summer wind, licking up dust, shimmying against the unhinged expanse of the land. There's a story people tell about a man back in Russia who was executed by the state. His head was severed. When the head thumped to the ground, it turned into a fat fox and ran out through the crowd of onlookers, out of the city limits, out into the forest where it lives to this day. The Russian thistle, it's not so different. Rent from the root and running. But then, you knew this plant already. Even if you've never been to the old country, nor dragged your fingertips along photographs of the steppe, nor paged through yellowed tomes of Slavic folktales, you know it. You've seen it in old films, somersaulting down desolate stretches of highway. Coyote plant, wind howler, the starting pistol of every good standoff. When you see the Kali tragus, you can almost taste lonesomeness, bitter somewhere in the back of your throat, or smell it in the air like a perfume. It represents all words left unsaid, stories untold, the memories that have been kicked up by storms and carried off across the untamed prairie. So many meanings, many names. Kali tragus, the Russian thistle, wind witch, the tumbleweed. Did you think the tumbleweed was from here? Montana, perhaps? Nebraska? No. It is a foreigner, too, like so many of us. In 1873, Russian immigrants arrived in South Dakota, selling off and planting flaxseed they had carried with them from their home villages. The seed, unbeknownst to them, had been contaminated with thistle. Before long, the invasive species spread across the western United States, quickly becoming one of the most common weeds of the West's drier regions. The seeds traveled by threshing crews, wriggling out into wheat fields and orchards. They hopped trains, hiding in boxcars. They voyaged in wagons and boot heels, in the bellies of rodents and the talons of birds. They traveled in great wind-blown wheels, churning up dust. They fed mule deer and sheep, elk and prairie dogs, quails and small mammals scrabbling in the soil. During the Dust Bowl, when grazing was scarce, cattle farmers filled their herds' bellies with thistle. Soon the tumbleweed had become one of the Wild West's most iconic characters. A grand joke, no? This paragon of Americana, secretly an immigrant after all. The Russian thistle disguised itself well. Put on a costume built of country songs and sharpshooters and